guys, I'm Robbo and welcome to a small tutorial series I'm going to be doing on Ark Survival Evolved. I'm going to be covering all the basics of the game. As you can see here, we're at December 1st, version 226. It's actually 226.3, just so you know where we're at, because this game is always evolving, always new content being added. I'm going to be covering everything from leveling early on in the game, what dinos you want to tame early, what dinos you just don't want to waste your time with, pretty much everything that comes with playing the game. Now, to start with, I'm going to be playing on single player. I'm going to be using some modifications. I will be running at an XP multiplier, taming speed multiplier, and harvest amount multiplier all turned up. I'll be running no mods. I'll also run with the difficulty turned up just to keep it a bit more interesting. These are really the only changes in settings I'm going to be running. I'll start the game. Now, just a few notes. On all official servers, it is 1 times everything, so all your gather rates and that are going to be at 1 times. So you pick up 1 stone, you get 1 stone. I'll be running at 3. Unofficial servers, I've seen them anything up to 50 and 100 times gather and tame, so that'll be up to your discretion what sort of server, if you choose to go on a server or you just want to play single player. I'll be coming in as a fresh spawn, no levels, and we're just going to work our way through the game. I'll keep the videos as short as I can. So survivor doesn't really matter here, for me anyway. Always be Robbo. Just quickly, the best zones to spawn in are anywhere to the south for new players. Mid-game, you'll find it harder to get metal and that, but there's nothing to say that you can't move. Advanced players always spawn in the north, especially this northern region over here. This is the snow biome, and this is very, very hard to survive in as a new spawn. All north is pretty hostile. So for this, I'm going to be spawning South Zone 3. We'll start in South Zone 3 and see how we go from there. These are a new addition to the game, and they can be very challenging for new players, especially fresh spawns. High ground, they're slow, so you're going to be able to outrun them. For starters, we'll just get away, get ourselves out of that little predicament, start from somewhere else. Now over there we've also got a raptor, which could cause more problems. So I'm going to actually try and skirt around and go back the opposite direction, go back where I came from. Now, keep in mind, I know this map quite well. I've got over 1,000+ hours just on this map. They are going to be releasing new maps coming soon. Alright, so the easiest way to gain XP in the game is just to do anything. Anything in the game gives you XP, apart from just running around and jumping. So every stone you pick up, every piece of wood you harvest, you gain XP. Now early on, you're gonna want to get your basic tools down. We're going to talk about engram points, where I think I should put points early on into the player, because for the first part you're going to die quite a bit as a new player. So we're going to start with, we're going to get our tools together, get our first 1 or 2 levels up just while we're in this area. We need a bit of wood and thatch, no tools to start with, so that's how we get it. Now we've leveled up. You go into here, you place a point into any one of these. Just going to have a look. I thought that Dillo was coming after me then. Another little compy. These won't attack when they're by themselves, but as soon as they get 1 or 2 around, they'll start attacking you. Otherwise, they can just sit there and follow you. When tamed, you can put them on your shoulder and take them places with you, much like a few other dinos in the game, but we'll get to that. So, back to the leveling. We've leveled up. Now, early on in the game, Health is always good. Any point you put into health is going to go up by 10. Stamina is good, but for the first part, you probably don't need stamina. You want to get that up a little bit later in the game, but you don't need it. Oxygen, now that's something we'll discuss more on later. At this stage, it can be left alone. You probably don't need oxygen right in this first part. Always suggest staying away from food and water. Don't put points into food and water. You can see there my food's dropping rapidly, and that's because I'm cold, but we'll get into the aspects of this later on. Weight carrying's a big thing early on, because as you're collecting items, you're going to need to be able to carry more and more weight, because for a while you're not going to be able to have a permanent base. Melee damage, this is probably, for me, the most important thing along with health. I would more than likely pick melee damage early on because it also helps your gather rates. The higher the melee damage when you're using melee tools and weapons, the more you'll gather, and this also translates over to dinos as we start taming dinos with their melee damage, especially, dinos used for gathering certain resources. Movement speed is good to put up a little bit, but we'll discuss that later on. It's probably not an early game thing, not the first 10 levels anyway. Fortitude, once again, good to have. Later game, once you start moving up into mountains, mining metal and stuff, like, all this is at your own discretion. You'll be able to, once you've got a few hours in, you'll know what works best for you. Crafting speed, I wouldn't suggest putting any points into crafting speed unless you're on a PvE server where things aren't as PvP, as battle orientated. That's when I would go crafting speed. But as for a PvP server, I generally don't worry about it. So for this, I'm going to go for melee damage, because early on I want to be collecting more items. So now I've got 8 engram points to spend. You can see up here all the things that I can learn are visible but darkened. All the things that I can't learn are not visible. You can see here how many engram points it takes to learn each item. So for starters, we're going to learn a campfire, because we're going to need some food early, and we're going to learn the hatchet. The hatchet is one of our early gathering tools. Now we're being attacked by a dillo, so this one we might not get out of. I'll also like to say that early on, you're going to die a lot in the game. We might have just been saved by this compy here. We're going to try and get away as best we can. This may be difficult. As you can see, our legs are damaged. We've got broken bones down in that left corner, and we're also cold. Not the best start, but this game is a very hostile game. You're always going to struggle early in the game. Now, we've actually just knocked that compy out. Okay, we've died. We're going to spawn the same area because this is a reasonable area to spawn in, even though we got a very poor spawn to start with. We lost a lot of health and we were cold from the start. So we're going to respawn random location in that same area, and hopefully we don't get attacked straight away, which we've got compy again straight away. We're going to go back past our body. Even though we had a bit of stuff on it, we're not going to worry about looting it. We're just going to try and keep moving this time. And now that I've actually gone over those few basic things, we might be able to get some stuff done. So running early on, always collecting. Bushes and that will get you berries. Now, to collect, you're pressing the E key. That's with your hand out. Once we start making tools, you'll be using your left mouse button. And yeah, that's basically it. You want to be, just early on in the game, you want to be collecting resources, experimenting. Now, I'm going to stop here when I can, get some wood, and get a bit of thatch so I can create my first couple of tools. We're gonna find a location where we can set up a semi-permanent camp. That's actually my old satchel. That's my old stuff there, where I died. If I had have just died, not because of carnivorous dinosaurs, my body would actually be laying there, but because I was eaten as well, they've harvested the meat from me, it's just left with a satchel with what I've left. We'll cover these quickly. These are beacons. Now, there's different coloured beacons, and they're found randomly all over the map in the game. They will drop They're basically a supply drop. So at green, that is a level 15 one. Currently, we are only level 2, so we can't access it. So we're not going to even bother. There are white ones, as you can see there through the trees. That is level 5. That is what we're aiming to get some of early on. Now, as they go up in levels, as they get to higher levels, they're going to carry better loot. But we'll cover that as we start going to them. So now I've got myself a bit of distance here. I'm going to craft a stone pick, which 1 stone, 1 wood, 10 thatch. I've just been harvesting as I've been running around. So now we'll get that. Now, as you see, we're going to craft... We want to get ourselves probably a torch, a pick, and we're going to want probably 2 campfires. Now, you might be content with just putting 1 down, but I like to put 2 down because they cook food very slowly, and early on, food's a bit of a commodity, like it's going to be hard to come by. So we're going to work on the hatchet and the torch first, so we're going to need a couple of flint, some more wood and some more thatch, and also we'll be collecting stone and a bit extra thatch to try and at least get 1 campfire up, probably 2. As you can see, it's starting to get a bit dark. Now these things here, these are Trolo Bites. We might actually be able to kill a couple of these guys low level. It's only level 3. We might be able to kill a couple and get a bit of meat off it while we're here. A lot of this game is, you know, taking opportunities. Pretty much everything levels you up. Now you can see there we're getting raw meat, we're getting chitin, we're getting oil and silica pearls. 3 out of those 4 items are pretty useless to us at the moment. Silica pearls, oil, chitin, pretty useless. The raw meat we're going to cook to eat. You can eat raw meat as it is. However, it does 50 points of health damage, which at this stage isn't going to be handy for us at all. And doesn't put your food up by much. So we're going to try and cook it before we eat it. We've leveled again. I'm going to keep going on melee damage, probably until I get to 120%, and then I'm going to work on a little bit of health. So, rocks like this are mineable. This is what you'll get small amounts of flint from, stone. We'll cover certain tools for gathering certain materials. I've also got 1 metal there. Metal in these type of rocks is very scarce. You'll get 1 to 2, maybe 3 if you're lucky. Sometimes more, but more often than not you won't get any. We should have nearly everything we need, I think, now to make the hatchet. Now, using a pick on a tree will give you more thatch than wood. Using a pick on a stone is going to give you more flint than stone. However, if we now craft our hatchet, which we can also craft our torch and our 2 campfires that we needed. We go back to our craftables menu. Our stone hatchet goes into slot 2. Torch, I always put in 0. Now, I always set this up the same way. It's just force of habit, so I always know where my tools are on my hotkeys. I've always got my pick in 1, I've always got my hatchet in 2. Any torches go to 3, bows go to 4, any ranged weapons or guns go to 5. Then I have parachutes, go to 4, parachutes in 5. Then I have spyglass in 6. It may change occasionally. I may put a pike up here instead, but we'll just play that as we're getting along to it. So I'll go more melee damage. We've got more engram points. Now we can actually start unlocking a couple of things. Wooden club is useful for knocking dinos out, but we can do that with our fists with a bit extra melee damage. We're going to learn the spear so we can defend ourselves. We're going to learn the water skin because I deem this to be one of the most important early learns. And the sleeping bag. Now these require hide to make. And hide at this point is slightly more complicated to get. You can see we've still got engram points, but we're just going to leave them for now. We don't really need to be setting up a permanent base at this stage. We're going to go around here a bit further and hopefully find a small spot to set up camp. I know for a fact that this area, beacons drop in this area on that shore over there, around where we saw that green beacon before. I think this might be a good spot for us to set up our first 2 campfires and just get underway. We're going to set them both up side by side, leave a little gap in between them. Now this is going to help us with dealing with the cold. As you can see down on the beach here, we're cold. As we go out in the water, we're going to be cold. On the right of screen, you can see our food and our water slightly dropping. To replenish our water at this stage, you can just step into shallow water and press E, and you'll drink water. Food, we have to cook our food. So we'll open the campfire. Now we'll put in our raw meat. We can light this with both wood or thatch. We're going to use the wood. Wood burns slightly longer. Well, has a fair bit longer burn time, actually, but also produces charcoal. Now, early game, charcoal isn't relevant to much that you're going to be doing, but once you get up to making guns and weapons, charcoal is part of the basis for collecting, for making gunpowder for bullets, and also explosives, things like that. It's also used in cooking recipes, things of that nature. So now, back to talking about the tools. So we use our pick, and that gets us more flint than stone. But if we switch to our hatchet, it will get us more stone than flint. This is the same on trees. If we go up to a tree, we use our hatchet, we're going to get more wood than thatch. But if we're to use our pick on another tree, even these down logs will do, we'll get more thatch than wood. Just a little note, something that's, you know, it's very handy to know, that just a slight little glitch, a slight world save. Now we're going to need some more meat. Hopefully here we're able to create ourselves a couple of spears. Now spears are good. They inconsistently break. They have no set amount of uses. They could break on the first use. They might last you 20 uses, 25 uses. I'm going to put my cooked meat down there. Now I've got a bit more wood. I'll put 5 wood on the fire and get that lit again. The downside to spears is that they're heavy, weighing in at 6 each. I try to carry no more than 2 or 3, and you know you're going into battles at your discretion. Like I'm going out here to try and get a fish because it's not going to fight back. Level 13 should be an easy kill, which it is. Got to watch your oxygen bar on the right side of the screen. As you can see, mine's going down slowly. The O2 bar. To get the meat off it. Now, pick is used for getting meat off animals, while the hatchet is used for getting hide. That doesn't apply in some areas, but here it's going to apply. As you can see, when I was in the water, over the left-hand bottom corner, it changed to an ice block. That means I'm really cold, in which case your food and your water drops quicker. If I move up here next to this campfire, my heat's going to go up. If I put a bit of wood on this fire, put some of this meat on this fire and light it, now you can see I haven't got the ice block at all. My food's going to go down at a pretty regular interval now. I just want to keep some meat cooking here. Now I've got to try and get some hide. And I've been watching up there, there's a dillo up there in the bushes. That's probably going to be, at this stage, the best chance of getting hide. Now while I didn't have weapons before, they were quite formidable. Now that it should be relatively easy, providing it's not a level 100 or something silly. The dino cap on this should be level 120, I think, but as we keep playing, we'll find out more about that. So I'm going to have a go at killing this dillo, and then I'm going to harvest the hide off it to hopefully make a water skin. This fella may actually be glitched out in the tree. He's only a level 1. Now, dillos have that slag attack that you just saw then. If you see them frill up, and they'll be about to shoot at you, if you walk sideways, 99.9% of the time they won't hit you. Now this dillo's actually stuck in the trees. That's what happens when they hit you with the slag attack. You can't see, makes it very difficult. Now I knew he was there because I could see his name and stuck in the tree, so that was advantage to us. We've leveled again. We should be now, after this we're going to be level 5. We've got 120% melee, which is going to help us out a lot. Once again, use your pick for meat. Well, we've got a bit of meat cooking, so we need the hide. We're going to use our axe this time. We're going to try and get a bit of hide. We've got 6 hide. We'll see if that's enough. I think we need 7 for a water skin, but I may be wrong. We get back over here to the fires because we're still getting cold at the moment. Pick up a bit extra meat. Put some more wood on, get the fire going, and get that meat on to cook as well. Check here. No, we can make a water skin. Now our next aim is to make a sleeping bag. This is so we can control where we respawn, pretty much. It's a one-use item. Very early on, you're going to learn how to make the simple bed, which is multiple uses. It does have a cooldown for if you die, you know, in quick succession, multiple times, but we're going to work on getting that. We're going to sneak along here and look for some more dillos. Just keep an idea of where we are in our camp. Now, this game is buggy. I would like to point out this game is quite buggy. We have another dillo stuck in a tree here. They've jammed themselves in between the trees. However, don't expect it to stay there. If you get on the right side of it, it might come out. Always know also what is around you. We're going to get slagged again. That's my own fault, but I didn't really have anywhere to go. Now, mid-combat then, after about the third shot, my first spear broke. As you can see, the spears don't have a damage bar on them like the axe and the pick do down the bottom. Just take this guy out so he stops slagging in the face. But they just have a random chance to break, pretty much. Now we've taken some health damage. You can see we're down to half health. Our food's also a bit low. We're going to eat some of this meat. We're going to get our hide off this fella. And also, we're probably going to collect wood here accidentally, regardless of if we want to or not, because of how close he is. We've got another 5 hide. Now, this is a trike. Can be very dangerous early on if you try to attack them. Very good for harvesting berries. This is going to be a dino we're going to be trying to get early. Now, so far, we haven't managed to get that much hide. I'd like to maybe go around the other way and see if I can't get maybe a couple of dodos. You can see there we've got a glitched out dolphin. Now, dolphins are also an early dino in the game. These open up collecting oil and silica pearls. Like what we collected before off the Trolo Bite, the oil and the silica pearls. You need them for electronics and crafting. Sort of later on in the game, around level 25, maybe you need them. I'm going to go back this direction, see if I can't get a couple of dodos. I might actually, if I've got the resources here, I might make another spear just so I've got a backup. As I said, I try to carry more than one spear all the time. It's just, it could quite literally be, even though I haven't used this spear before, I could quite literally go and one-hit something with it and it'll break. There's no real rhyme or reason as to why it does it, it just does it. So we'll go back this way. There were some dodos around here before. Dodos are another thing we want to tame early on. I'll explain that maybe towards the end of this video, maybe in the next video. But you want to get a couple of dodos early on. They are good for eggs. Eggs are good for eating and also good for taming the earliest flying dinosaur you're going to get in the game, where as soon as you start flying in this game, it opens up the whole map to you. Now we have another stuck dillo here. Another one stuck in branches. We're going to try and kill it. You can see it's got a little love heart above its head. Now, you can see that there, that spear broke on the second go. I've got 2 dillos after me. I'm just going to keep walking backwards. And hopefully, I've killed them both. I've managed to get both of them. Going to try and get the hide off them. There's another dillo in front of me, maybe coming over here. No, it's not. Now, when I was attacking them, you could see they had the little love heart above them. That meant they were mate boosted, so there was both males and females in the area. That's not actually a dillo, that is an oviraptor. Now, they collect eggs. They're not highly dangerous. If you attack them, they'll probably attack you back. At this early stage, they will run later on, but we'll get to them later on. As I was talking about mate boosted. So having a male and female dino of the same type will mate boost them. That gives them advantages, such as it gives them they do more damage and they have more damage resistance. They're more resistant to damage. It'll also cause the female to lay eggs more frequently. It boosts her chances of laying eggs. So we should have enough hide now, hopefully, to create a sleeping bag. No, not quite. We're literally 1 short. We might go back this way again because there wasn't much around the other way, and at this stage I'm trying to stay on the beach. I don't want to be going too far inland. While I'm running, I might also collect some berries. We might be able to get our first tame around here if we find several dodos. I'd like to try and get myself 2 to 3 dodos, and you want to keep the eggs. Now, early on, you don't want to keep the eggs. We're going to eat them. Pretty much we're going to use them as food while we're walking around and the dodos are following us. But after a little while, we're going to start keeping the eggs. They're going to be used to make kibble to help us tame other dinos. Now, our food's gone down again. We've got more food back on the campfire. This shouldn't take more than a second to kill this fella, get our last bit of hide, and then we'll be on our way back. Now, keep skirting sideways. Oh, we still got hit by his slag, but that may have more to do with the fact that we have low movement speed. We've just got to wait for that to go away before we get out our hatchet. Collect the hide off him. Now we should have no issue making our hide sleeping bag. Just quickly on water canteens. I've got the water canteen in my bottom slot so I can go out into the water and press E to fill it. And that will also drink at the same time. While it's raining like this, I can press E. I can press the number it's on and fill it. And that'll also drink from it. I've leveled up again. I'm going to go one more into melee damage. I'll worry about my engrams in a minute. We're at a point now where we can get a storage box going. As you can see, I'm cold, my health is going down. Hopefully I can make it back to my camp. If it looks like I'm not going to make it back, I'm just going to throw this sleeping bag down so that I respawn right near here. But with a bit of luck, we'll make it back around here, and it shouldn't be an issue. I can actually eat a few berries here just to help me survive a bit longer. Berries don't give you much food back, but they're also a good source of water, and just, in a pinch you can eat them. Meat's the best. Meat's going to be your number one source of food all the way through this game to high levels. It's, once you start getting dinos that can collect meat, it's very readily available. You can get industrial grills to help you cook it quicker, rather than having to use multiple campfires like what I'm doing here. And it is the staple food pretty much right throughout the game. We'll get back around here. Our campfires are still a little bit further around. I could be collecting more meat and stuff as I'm going, but I'm not going to. I'm hungry again. You can see that even though I ate about 20 berries then, they didn't sustain me long. Early on, we're going to be taming a couple of herbivores. That's going to be our first couple of dinos in this game, is going to be herbivores. So we want to save as many berries as we can, specifically these Majo berries and these Narco berries. Narco berries are used for keeping dinos unconscious, and Majos generally are the best food source for any herbivore in the game. So now we've got more meat cooked on these fires. Meat will go off. Meat does have a countdown timer on it as to when it goes off. I'll just eat this quickly, get a couple of bits of food. And as you can see, I only ate 4 bits of meat then, but you can see how far up my food bar's going. Now right there in the trees, that is the earliest flyer we're going to obtain in the game. We're not going to get it at this stage, but once we get into how to make kibble and things like that, that is what the dodo eggs are used for. Is for that sort of kibble. Now we've actually got a dodo right here. We'll see if this is a male or a female. Ideally we want female. We've got 3 dodos here, so we might be in a bit of luck here. We might be able to get a couple of them. Ideally we want females. We want egg layers. So we've got a female level 60. We've got a female level 68. And we have a female level 8. We're going to start with the female level 8. We're just going to punch it. We're going to punch it until we knock it out. Which didn't take long. Now, we're going to put some Majo berries. Actually, we won't use the Majo berries. We'll just put these armor berries on it. We're going to chuck on some Narco berries. And now while this is taming, you can see its taming bar going up, its unconscious bar going down. We're going to try and knock out another one of these dodos. Once we've knocked out one, the others will start to run away, but we're going to see how we go here. Got a second one knocked out. We're going to do the same thing with this. This one's going to take longer to tame because he's a higher level. So we're going to put those azul berries on him. We're going to restack our Majos because I don't know why we unstacked them. We're going to have to collect a few more Narco berries just to get these tames along. Now remember, this is 3 times, so it's a lot easier than it would be on, say, a 1-time server. I can do this a lot easier. Get a few more Narcos, hopefully. We will go back and check on that other dodo in a minute, but he should nearly tame without needing any more narcotics. We'll go back and just have a look at him now. He's not far away. I won't be running through controls or graphic settings or anything. Yeah, he's going to tame without needing more narco berries. So there we go. We've tamed a dodo. We're going to call him Bob. Because We always need a Bob in our life. We're going to call him Bob. We're going to go back over here. Now, this other Dodo is going to need more berries. Now, that one should be following us. We knocked him out. You can see his taming bar's going up, but his unconscious bar's going down relatively quickly. So we'll put on those 3 narco berries. Now, narco berries affect their torpor. You can see he's got a torpor count of 150.6. And now you can see the narco berries have worn off and the torpor bar starts dropping. If that gets to 0, it will wake up and you'll have to knock it out and start it all over again. However, during the process of knocking them out, they take damage. So this, see, he's only got 22 health of 112 health. As soon as he wakes up, he'll start getting his health back pretty quickly. But while they're unconscious, they won't regain health. This one here is knocked out. He's actually got some extra berries on him. We'll put these Tinto berries on him. He can eat them. We're trying to save the Majo berries at this stage as best as we can. We'll use more Narco berries on him, keep him unconscious. We'll go and collect a few more. We've got that Dodo just there is still following us. We might just leave him here. Now, going up to any item or any dinosaur in the game that you have placed that you own, holding E will bring up the selection wheel. As you can see, just pressing E on it will give us access to his inventory. Also pressing F on it will give us access to his inventory. Now this is especially useful later on flying dinosaurs, as you use E to get on and off, and mid-air you don't want to be pressing E to try and access their inventory because you will fall off. Use the F button. So early on I try and use it as a habit to press F to get into inventory and hold E for all other options. Now I'm going to use disable following, so he's going to sit there. And you can also see a bit of information about him there. We'll just check this other one. Yeah, you can see a bit of information there. That's tamed by me. It's Bob, level 11. Its aggression level is set to attacking targets. Now, it's a Dodo. It's a relatively useless fighter. It ran away when I punched it in the face and I'm only a low level. So we're going to take him back to cycle aggression to neutral. On attacking targets, as soon as it sees a target it thinks it should be attacking, it will attack it. Or if we went up and started attacking anything. On neutral, unless we're in a close proximity to it and we get hit, or it gets attacked, it won't attack. It will just sit there and watch. Dodos are pretty useless, but we need Dodos. We need Dodos. They're our first tame of this game. We need the Dodos. So we've got a few more narco berries. I think once I get this Dodo awake, I will leave the video here. He's not going to need any more narco berries. We'll take those yellow berries out for ourselves. We'll go over taming in more detail later on once we start getting things that the taming effectiveness is important on. Once we start getting high level dinos, we'll get this fella up. We will name her. We'll name her Sam. We'll take it back to our camp with us. We'll put this one back on follow. Now you can also use whistles for this, which I'll be covering a bit later on. We'll go back to our camp, consisting of 2 campfires so far. And we will put down our sleeping bag, and I might call this video an end. So I'll be doing this in a small series. I'm going to try and keep the videos as short as possible. The first few there is going to be a lot of information, but as we get further on I'll be able to explain dinosaurs in more depth. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.